Petri and Makita, it is great to be Zooming with you both.
This is exciting for us.
I've been reading about your beautiful love story. I know it was about 10 years ago that you originally met, but things really got going on the set of Judge Judy. Is that right?
Yeah,
you are correct.
This guy just does his homework. He knows too much. We'll have to talk to you after this.
So tell me, how did this happen between you two?
In 2016, I started working for Judge Judy. And honestly, when I got the job, a friend requested me from Facebook. So I was just like, I knew him back in 2012. So I knew that he would be surprised when he sees me working for the show. 2 weeks later, when we're filming, I'm like, hey, Bird, how are you? He's like, hey, how are you? Gave me a hug. Then I left and he was like, who's that girl? And I'm just like, well, I'll let you tell him that part.
And the PA says, oh, that's Makita. I go, Makita Bond. The guy goes, I don't know what her last name is. He said, but that's Makita. And I said, oh, okay. Now I'm thinking, uh-oh, what did I do? You got to backtrack. You got to go over your steps. But she came back and we talked, and she's like, hey, don't forget you owe me a drink. I'm like, yes, and I want to pay. And that's pretty much how it started on the job. But we couldn't let anybody know that we were seeing each other because CBS at the time, they frowned upon that type of fraternization.
We had to sign a contract once they found out, because they didn't find out for like what, a year?
Yeah, for a year.
Yeah, and we started dating like 4 months after. So yeah, it was pretty hush hush.
But the funny part is hush hush, right? Of course, we're thinking it's hush hush, and meanwhile, everybody probably on the set is going, yeah, we know. That's old news.
Oh my gosh! And then you married 3 years ago.
We tied the knot, what, 3 times?
3 times.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Once on my birthday, again the following March 29th. We got married in New Jersey for our East Coast family. And then we wanted to include our West Coast family who didn't get a chance to go over to the East Coast for the wedding. So we did it on May 4th, right, here in Southern California. And it
was a We Got Hitch party.
Yeah.
That is fabulous. Now, Petri, I have to say, you're known to millions around the world, of course, as Bailiff Byrd, Judge Judy's trusty sidekick for 25 years. But step me through your fascinating story on how you first met.
I became a court officer in family court in New York. That's where I first met Judge Judy Shineland. I left the job in 1990 and moved out to Northern California. I did a little stint at the U.S. Marshals Service, and then I left law enforcement and became a high school counselor at Monte Vista High School. While doing that, one day I happened to read, the newspaper. I know some of you out there don't know, but that's the thing. You open up, it's made of paper, it has ink. So I'm reading Liz Smith's gossip column, and I get to the end of the gossip column, and I notice a name that I know, Judge Judy Shineland. She's written this book, and they're going to develop a TV show for her. I write her a letter. I don't know if you know out there what writing is. You take a pen and anyway. So I actually wrote a letter and faxed the letter off because this was pre-computers.
Hang on, what's that word? Fax?
Faxed. Yeah. So some of you out there may not know. You take a piece of paper and I send her this letter, and in the letter I'm just congratulating her, and at the end of the letter I was kidding around. I said, hey, if you ever need a bailiff, I still look good in uniform. Well, she had to take my word for it because there was no picture with it. 2 weeks later, she calls me on a landline. There were no cell phones then. She calls me and she says that she appreciates the letter, and she said, you might have been kidding at the end of your letter, but we do need a bailiff. We tried it with a regular actor, and it's an unscripted show, and he just didn't know how to move the way I wanted him to move. She said, and as I recall, you're kind of crazy. And I said, yes, I'm still kind of crazy. She said, well, if you're crazy enough to try this with me, I'll recommend you for the job.
Did you two become great friends, or was it strictly a working relationship?
It was somewhere in between, you know. I didn't hang with her set, and she definitely didn't hang with mine. But you know, because I'm one of them working class stiffs, you know. So the court officers. Now, the funny thing about working in Manhattan Family Court was that every now and then, well, especially like as summer was approaching, we would have a summer party, you know, and everybody was invited. So, you know, you could hang out with the judges, and, you know, the judges would hang with us, and, you know, what happened at those parties stays at those parties. But, you know, really, it was more of a working relationship between us for 25 years, you know. As I always say, you know, not everybody who's friendly is your friend. So, you know, sometimes you have to know the difference. You have to know where the border is, you know.
But she did let her famous coiffed hair down at the rap parties, didn't she? Taking to that dance floor and cutting the rug into shreds.
Yeah, well, she did hit that dance floor.
she knows. So at every rap party or every Christmas party, the party really didn't start until Judge Judy and I took to the floor. Yeah. You know, so she would come out, and she started, you know, you could tell she'd had a little wine, and she's ready now to, you know, and of course, you know, who else to pick to jump on the dance floor with you than Fred upstairs.
And Makita, of course, as you mentioned earlier, you worked as a producer. What was that like from where you sat? Was she fun to work with? Was she a little ferocious? Did you sometimes feel a little intimidated?
Honestly, she didn't really coexist with the producers. But she liked me, you know, like, and I wasn't afraid of her like everybody else on the set. So I'm a New Yorker. I naturally just want to talk.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I had a great relationship with her, but not many could say the same.
The thing about you, Petri, is you made her laugh, didn't you? Whereas other people couldn't make her laugh. You had this incredible knack to be able to get under her skin and make her truly, honestly laugh from inside and out.
She liked my sense of humor. Plus, she, one of her favorite memories, and one of mine too, was one time she came back from lunch early, and she walked in to see this large black man sitting in her robe with her glasses on, doing what she called a scathingly accurate impersonation of her.
Whoops.
Now, from my point of view, it was like this. I'm going on it. Oh, excuse me, counselor. I'm a truth machine. Did I ask you anything? And I'm going, and everybody's laughing, and all of a sudden they stop laughing, and all eyes shift to my left. And I just looked over and I went, "You're in the doorway, aren't you, Judge?" "Okay, no problem. You don't have to fire me. I quit." And I got off the bench. I put a robe on, and I took her glasses and put them on. "I hope you have a nice life. Bye-bye." You know.
You and Judge Judy had the most amazing chemistry. You were like Laurel and Hardy. It was quite incredible.
I remember the first time it happened. It was one of our first cases. It was the first day, and she, some guy was telling her something. He was feeding her a line about something, and she kind of looks at me and she goes, "SODDI." And so I just looked back at her and I went, "Yeah, some other dude done it," you know. And right, and so the audience laughed. They were laughing I understand they were laughing in the control room, you know. And so they came to me afterwards and they said, "Hey, let me ask you something. Did you and the judge rehearse that?" I go, No. That's just the Brooklynism that we both know. I said, you know, and he said, "Well, do you plan to talk to her all the time?" I said, "If she talks to me, I'll talk to her. That's how this works, you know." And from then on, I was called back into the office, and it was like, "Okay, we had you at another pay level. You're going to be a principal player now." You know, I was like, "Okay, thanks."
Makita, were you a fan of the show before you went to work on the show?
I actually was, and my mom was even more of a bigger fan. And then when I met him in 2012, I saw him in his uniform because we were on the same lot, but not on the same show. But I saw him in his uniform and was like, oh my God, my mom likes you. Oh my God, can I take a picture?
Sure, kid. Chicks dig the uniform.
And I had to show him that picture, like, what, in 2018? Because you know how Facebook actually, like, has memories and stuff?
Yep.
So
and round they roll again.
Yes. So it popped up and I was like, thank you. And I showed it to him.
Because I didn't remember.
He didn't remember anything.
It was very bad, man.
Yeah, but it's okay.
So many cases flew through that courtroom. But do you remember maybe the weirdest or the craziest that you were party to?
My favorite case is the shortest case. It's on YouTube. You know, you guys can check it out. Just put in Judge Judy's shortest case. But it's the case we're just standing up there, and it's a young lady who is suing the defendants for having stolen her, having stolen her purse. And, you know, so the judge said, well, you know, what was in your purse? And she's like, you know, well, my phone, my car keys, like $60 in cash or something like that. And one of the defendants goes, there was no $60 in there. And the judge just looks at me and we just stare at each other, and the judge goes like shooting fish in a barrel. I went, exactly. You know, we laughed at that one. And then there was the time that B. Arthur was a witness on a case that we had. I just remember standing there watching her going, Maud. You know, I'm standing up the entire time going, thank you for being a friend. You know?
After 25 years of tremendous success, and of course, Judge Judy became America's highest paid TV personality, she brought that gavel down on her own show. Why did she do that?
I understand that the honeymoon between her and CBS was pretty much over. I can only venture a guess at this. The other thing is that she was sharp enough to have bought the catalog, 25 years of shows, okay, and then sold them back to CBS at a profit, okay, at probably like twice what she paid for them, and said, well, okay, you know, so CBS's position was, well, we have 25 years worth of you. And if nothing else, you know, we'll be watching these for years. It's like I Love Lucy reruns, you know? Well, pretty much that's going to be the same thing with Judge Judy. She's such a phenomenal presence, such a phenomenal icon, a talent, you know, that people are going to be watching for years just to hear her say the things that she said.
But she's now gone on and she's on a streaming service, and she has her Justice Judy show, which sadly doesn't include you. You know, your fans were rightly furious that you were not along for the ride on the next Judge Judy adventure. Did that hurt you, Petri, a little that you weren't included in her new life?
After you do 25 years of anything, you know, after a while, it can get to be like, I'm not looking forward to doing 25 more years of it. So that wasn't the part that bewildered me or bothered me at all. I think it was not being included in on what you plan to do, even as a coworker or as a friend. You know,
yes.
You know, I mean, you know, my mailman is a nice guy, you know. I figure we're close enough that if next week was his last week being my mailman, he might say something, he might mention it, you know. And if I'm standing 3 feet away from you for 25 years, you know, a stone's throw, if you will, I figure you can let me know what it is you plan to do. That may be the only part that bothered me, but
yeah,
you know, she's absolutely entitled to do exactly what she wants to, and if she wants to take her show in a new direction and get a bunch of useless people with her, I mean, no, I scratch that. I meant to say a bunch of useful people. I always say, it's like Robin standing on the corner of 5th and Main in Gotham City and waiting for Batman to show up in the Batmobile. And when Batman pulls up, not only isn't Robin invited to get into the Batmobile, but there's some guy named Melvin sitting in his seat. And Robin's looking and going, Batman and Melvin? That makes no sense. But okay, you can do what you want to. And then Batman looks and goes, oh yeah, by the way, leave the keys to Wayne Manor and the Batcave on your dresser and take the tights. They're yours,
Anyway, look, I mean, one door slams shut, another one opens, and that's happened to you. But I also want to point out that this whole situation with the end of Judge Judy and essentially your involvement with her show came at a really bad time because, Makita, you were dealing with brain cancer.
Yes. So a month before we actually wrapped up the show, what was it, March 8th?
March 8th.
Yeah, I had my very first seizure.
And only.
Thank you. Thank you, God. But yeah, I found out that I had a brain tumor and I was to be operated on April 16th, the day before.
The day after.
The day after, yeah.
The last day of taping of Judge Judy.
Yeah.
So we ended April 15th, ended 25 years of taping. And the very next morning, she had surgery to remove the tumor.
Yep.
How did you kind of get through? Where did you keep your focus?
So I just trust in God, and I'm just like, all right, I have this for a reason. You're telling me to, like, I'm a New Yorker, like, so we work really hard and you just keep going and going and going. But God said, you need to take a break, and I didn't want to take a break. So he told me.
So he broke it for you.
Yeah.
You have absolutely turned sour old lemons into the sweetest of lemonade because, Makita, you battled brain cancer and you won.
Yes.
And you two together now are working on a really inspiring, quite fabulous project, which is Bonding with Byrd. Tell me about that.
So it actually started during the pandemic when we were on lockdown. And we have so much fun together, period. And it was just—
Oh, really? You can't tell.
But we were having so much fun because we were newly married, and it was actually in March that we were turning 1 year, right? We had a 1 year anniversary.
Something like
so
that.
Either way, we were having fun in the house, and eventually we stopped talking to each other and wanted to talk to other people. So why not go to Instagram, right? So then we got popular on Instagram, and then we were like, okay, we could take this to Facebook and YouTube. So yeah, I mean, coming from a world of daytime talk, I just feel like it's inspirational. Like, we talk about hot topics. First of all, we come on every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't know what that is over in Australia, but we come on every week.
It's either pretty damn early or pretty damn late.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
Right. So we
the
have
next day.
we have hot topics. We have guests. We have a thing called Tinking Tuesday, which started on Instagram.
Right.
And it causes you to tink.
And man, you got to tink, man. Yeah. You must tink.
And not only that, but now streaming on Amazon Prime, you've executive produced and you are also starring in a movie. Tell me about that.
Yes. So the movie is A Polished Soul, and it is an autobiographical film by Mike Anderson about the trials and tribulations he went through facing not only life imprisonment, but also the death penalty for a series of crimes that admittedly he committed, but it was how he turned his life around in prison and was eventually released and went on to do big things, including make a movie about his life that is that, as you said, is streaming on Prime Video, and people are they're loving this movie because the message is so clearly advantageous to people's souls and to their situations, you know, and Mike's message fundamentally is never give up, you know.
Yeah.
And I met him at a theater festival, probably like I'm gonna say like maybe like 2015, and he asked me then if I would play his father in the movie, and I was like, yeah, sure. And then he ran out of money. And so therefore I became an executive producer. You know? I was like, what do executive producers do? They make sure we finish the film. That's what they do. I was like, okie doke.
So there you go, the accidental executive producer. But I've got to say,
that's
a great cast. Shah Jackson is in it, among so many others who are just incredibly dynamic, wonderfully talented.
Oba Babatunde, it's just a wonderful cast. And you know, I tell people, you know, several people have written me and, you know, and just said, hey, you know, despite the issues technologically speaking, the story and everything is wonderful, and it's wonderfully acted, and it's very good. We watched it the other night. And, you know,
it was really good.
You know,
for his first film, you know, like.
Yeah. So this won't be your last film, will it? Obviously, surely this is that door opening, and suddenly you're walking into a whole new room with a whole bunch of fresh aromas and so many exciting things to discover.
There
are a couple of things on the horizon. You know, just ask people to, you know, keep their eyes peeled for. There are several performances that I've done, particularly for friends, but for their independent film projects. And you know, you never know. I always tell Makita, you never know how things are going to wind up. You know, you could do a small role for some student filmmaker, and that could be the next Spielberg. You know, and so, you know, you do it for the love of it. You know.
There is talk going around that at some point in time recently you were approached about possibly, maybe, being a judge in a new TV court show. Is there anything to that rumor?
We are in negotiations and talking with some folks about developing that. I came up with the idea fundamentally. And it's a judicial show, but it has a little different slant on it, you know. And I'm hoping that amongst the two meetings that we've had, I'm hoping that those meetings come to fruition, and that I'm able to do that. I would love to be on a show where I am the judge.
I agree. And what about this, Makita? If maybe you could be the new Bailiff Byrd.
I'm his wife, so if he does any shady stuff, I'm gonna be like, hold on, stop the cameras. Did you just
say? See, that wasn't even where he was going. This is what he was saying. That I'd be sitting up on the bench and I would go, excuse me. If you could just hold that thought, can I see the bailiff in my chambers for a moment?
But I would love to executive produce his show. I do well in producing, so that's my niche. So
she be behind the scenes, and you know, and we each running our lane. But when she's in front of the camera, she's just as much of a delight. So you know,
I know she's in your
past
life.
I think that bailiff. I think that bailiff thing. I think that she can do both.
But
I think that she can produce.
There's no talking.
You don't need to talk sometimes.
Yes. Now she gets it. There's no talking.
Oh my God!
Talk to me. You want to talk to me? See me in the chambers, and there'll be no talking back there either.
Well, my fingers, and I'm not going to show you, but my toes are also crossed for you both.
Thank you
Because I
so
think
much.
Petri and Makita, it has been an absolute joy chatting with you. In fact, frankly, I could chat with you both forever.
So could we. Thank you for having us.
This was fun so much.
Well, if you love that chat with Petri and Makita, you know what you can do. You can hit that subscribe button. Yep, it's just down there. That way, you'll have access to loads more similar interviews. Look forward to seeing you soon.
सही आ रही है? सही है बस। ये हमारा व्लॉग हो रहा है खड़े खड़े बस। सही है ना? हाँ सही है। ठीक है ना? 5 से 6 मिनट की ऐसे वीडियो बनानी। उससे क्या होगा? वो उसमें ऐड कर दिए ना। ऐड करने के बाद पता चलेगा क्या जा लिया कुछ न कुछ खाने को दिया जा। भूख लग रही है जा। वो तू खा ली मेरी या तो हाँ जा चाय पराठा लिया वही लिया जा जल्दी अंडे पराठे चाय पराठा लिया जा चाय सूप अंडा चाय और 6 मिनट की वीडियो अपलोड करनी है। ये हमारा फर्नीचर है सही है। हाँ गरीब लोग हैं आहिस्ता आहिस्ता होंगे सही है ना? ठीक है नहीं आपको हम बता रहे हैं लेकिन हम किसी को बताते ही नहीं। खुलता भी है मेरे कहीं आप लोग सोच रहे होंगे ये खुलता नहीं। ये चाबी है ये लगाई इसके अंदर ये देखो ये खुलता भी है। ये ऐसे करा ये खुल गया। ये खुलता है भाई और ये ऐसे करा बंद हो गया। सही है भाई? कहने का मतलब ये है खुलता भी है। सही है ना? समझेंगे?